Welcome back to the Scoop College of Basketball podcast presented by Hoop Scoop Media. I'm your host for today, Austin Getty, joined by Kyle Kerr, and we have an entertaining episode ahead of you guys. We are going to discuss the portal happenings of last week, as there are still many stuff happening in that regard. Also going to touch on some high school commitments. Also going to talk about Peach Jam because that has been a big event going for recruiting, probably the biggest recruiting event of the year. Now is the time for all the live events, especially Peach Jam, which is like the only free one to watch apparently, and it's the best one. So it's a
For sure.
win-win. And then for our main segment, you could say, of the podcast, we are going to be talking about some of our breakout players for next year, guys that will have significant jumps in production, efficiency, all that stuff, and will contribute to winning in 2023-24. But before we get started, give us a follow at Hoopscoop Media on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us on Threads, apparently. That's anyone's into that. I created an account. Haven't posted anything yet, but yeah, I guess we'll just see how popular it becomes. It seems like a lot of people are starting to get on it. Still personally prefer Twitter. I think Twitter has some nice features, such as like the trending page that I don't think are on Threads yet. But yeah, give us a follow on all those platforms. Give us a 5-star rating if you would feel so inclined to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave some nice comments if you wish. But now we will get into the actual content of the podcast with the portal. As I previously mentioned, stuff is still happening in the portal, and a lot of it is because the West Virginia, they had like 3 guys transfer out that we will get to. But the first commit I want to touch on is Paul Mulcahy, who committed to Washington, played at Rutgers, is a like a 6'6" point guard. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on this pickup, Kyle?
It's an intriguing fit. He's been tied to Washington for a good week or two, so kind of knew it was gonna happen. But I'm not the biggest fan of the fit. I posted something about it. Yeah, what happens here is what happens is the Washington with their layout of their rosters the last couple of years, it seems like the same issue. And it's just a lack of shooting. I just don't, they had a Cole Bajima last year, who was a good shooter, I guess, but now he's gone. Now you replace it with Calmes, you got Yates, you got a bunch of other guys.
Moses Wood can shoot.
Moses Wood, yeah, not true. But the thing is him being really your only willing outside shooter when it comes to your lineup, and really the only guy can hit at a pretty efficient clip. Like Mulcahy is a pass first guy. Like he definitely wants to get guys involved. And they already have something like that in Severe. They just need somebody who, and they also really lack that number one option. Like now I'm thinking about
I
it. Like
think I think Keon Brooks can be a number one guy. I mean, he averaged like 18 last year.
is he back?
I believe so.
I was looking through roster previews. I wasn't sure. But no, yeah, if he's back, okay, yeah, he's your number one for sure. Still, I think, shooting wise, they need to be better. But yeah, if Keon's back, I guess I like it a little more than I did, but still, I mean, it's a Mike Hopkins team, so
Yeah, I like Mulcahy in general. Like, I think he's a good player, but I mean, obviously he went here because of NIL. That's kind of been the word, but I don't like this fit at all, especially when you already have Severe Wheeler, because you can't play them together, can you?
it would be really tough. Like I know
Uh,
you like the 2 point guard thing, but like
but not in this situation.
not in this situation exactly. Like if you want that to work, you need really good shooting around them, and both of them really can't shoot. And really, the only guy around them who can shoot is Moses Wood. Like outside of that, you got don't they still have Nafali Dante and
No, he's at Oregon. You're probably thinking of Frank
Epnang?
Kepner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they have him, and then uh, who would be their starting for Keon?
Yeah, Keon.
So no, when it comes like shooting around them, I'm just not sure they have enough.
Yeah. There's just like you can't really play two point guards that can't really do anything besides pass on the floor at the same time. So we will see how that works because I like the talent on this team. Like in a vacuum, like it's a
There's some.
talented team, but I just don't buy that they're actually gonna turn that talent into wins. And the next transfer that we talk about that will likely contribute to some wins because we are both high on this team is Joe Toussaint going to Texas Tech. Seemed like he might have been going to Kansas State, but the rumors were that the NIL money at the end won out, and Mr. Toussaint is headed to Lubbock. I like this because Toussaint seems like a Grant McCaslin player, can really defend, really like more of a glue guy point guard that should fit well with Pop Isaacs as two guys who can handle the ball. Isaacs can really score the ball. Toussaint brings more on the defensive end. Not an efficient shooter, Toussaint. But what are your thoughts about this pickup?
I actually love this. Obviously Chance was the guy who was starting, but I think, obviously there's worry that, is he going to translate in the defensive end? And now you can put him in like a six-man role where, you get really good shooting off the bench. You can pair Toussaint, who's a pretty good defensive wing, can handle the ball. I think he's a pretty solid pairing next to Isaac, can distribute enough, get Isaac his looks. So you can probably play Isaac more as a two now with Toussaint. If you wanted to, with Chance, you probably were going to have to play Isaacs at the one because
Yeah,
Chance
they could both handle the ball, but Isaac should probably be more the
yeah.
primary one.
So definitely now you can put Isaacs in an off-ball scenario if you want to. There's just a lot more flexibility of what you could do with Isaacs, and you get some added depth with moving Chance to the bench. So
Yeah. This team is going to be awesome on defense.
they are.
Offense could be an experiment, but I kind of trust Grant McCaslin teams to figure out enough on offense that the
Mhm.
defense will get them by. Another West Virginia transfer that also seemed like they were going to K State at one time is Mohamed Wegu. Yeah, he's going to Alabama though, and I mean, we probably don't have much to say about this because it's more like it's more of a death piece. It's more of a death piece, and Alabama needed a big man. So I really like this pickup because it feels exactly what they needed.
Yeah, they're filling out their front court. They have Stevenson who reclassed. They have him now.
Just
Um,
adding more bodies.
so yeah, no, the front court's becoming less and less of an issue. So that's good. And Oates has definitely filled that void.
Yes, another Western big man that made his decision recently was James Okonkwo, who committed to North Carolina yesterday. This is another time where I like it because he needed like a backup big man. Okonkwo was playing a lot during the end of the year. I saw a few West Virginia games. And yeah, I also like his potential. He was super young. He was like in 2023, but somehow reclassed up to 2021. So he still has a lot of room to grow and should be a pretty serviceable backup center for the Tar Heels.
Definitely. When it comes to Baycott needing a backup if he gets in foul trouble, I think that's, one of the best backups in the ACC. So, it's a really good pickup for them.
Yeah, another team just needed guys in general, Texas, and they got a guy. They got Ethiel Horton, who will be a pretty good bench piece for them. I probably have him coming off the bench, but yeah, he was like a
Yeah.
serviceable starter for a pretty decent UCF team. He can shoot pretty decently, and I mean, at this point, you can take who you get. And if at this point, if Ethiel Horton is available, you definitely take him.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised it lasted this long for him to still be on the board. But especially as far as depth goes, I think he's a solid piece, and he's a guy who can, who shoots a lot of threes. And I think Texas needed some shooting off the bench or just shooting period outside of a Max Abamus. So
Yes, I don't love Tyrese Hunter shooting a lot of threes. Like you scroll down the starting lineup, like Dylan Mitchell can't really shoot. Dessou, not a great shooter. Like same with Shedrick. So yeah, definitely helps their shooting a lot and should get some buckets off the bench. Wildens Levesque is going to Texas A&M, the UMass transfer. Texas A&M just like doesn't care how many scholarship guys they have in their roster. I think they're up to like 15 now, and they were at like 16 or something crazy like that last year. But yeah, I mean he's another like solid backup big. Like when you take him, Texas A&M should be pretty competitive this year, and he gives him a solid backup big option. I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
your starting big. Is it Marble or is he the four? Trying to think of.
Coleman.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're building a defensive god squad over there. I think Willens Levique will be really good off the bench when it comes to defense. He's going to bring that. And yeah, if Coleman or Marble get in foul trouble, he'll get some good minutes. I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, he's already proven to be a serviceable SEC starter. So,
Right.
um, let's see. Back to our high school recruits. I lost a tab, so I'm just trying. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, some new entries in the portal. Trying to get on my tab situated. But anyway, Javon Quinterly is still in the portal. He is on a visit to Memphis. I don't know if he's on the visit now or was, but I think it will be like an 8 month visit from everything that seems I've been hearing. Should commit to Memphis and should get that process wrapped up fairly quickly. And any thoughts on that? I mean, nothing's really happened since we podcasted last week and talked about Quinterly.
Yeah, no, I think he's a lock to go there. I think he's just getting a sense of the campus, a feel for everything, and wants to get his feet on the ground. But no, I assume he's going to announce any day now. So
Yeah, Jose Perez, another Western Union player, entered a portal. He was the latest Mountaineer to hop into the portal. The early buzz has been Michigan on Perez, but honestly, like I'm not sure if I really love him as a player. Like
I don't either.
he was good at Manhattan, and he was good at Gardner Webb too. But he's like a 6'5" power forward who like
Right.
can't really shoot, can't really defend. His like best asset is his passing, which like I mean at that point
Yeah,
like it's
that and
just
his mid-range shooting, that's his game.
yeah. I mean
Um,
he's fine. Like at this point, like kind of talked about, you just take anyone that's out there, but I don't think he's like a guy that can make a super impact in a high major team. And we already saw that, like at Marquette, he was not that good.
right. No,
So
I definitely
I
wouldn't
do,
want to see him in Michigan. I don't think that fit works at all.
yeah, I
Um,
do feel bad for him though, because he's gotten screwed time over and time over again with the
for sure.
coaching changes. So
Sucks.
yeah, Alan Breed also entered the portal. There might be some legal issues behind him. I think he like held a gun to his girlfriend or something like that. He's was in some trouble, so I don't know, but I mean it depends if he's cleared or not. Like I'm not, I haven't been catching up to date on the legal details. But hypothetically, if he is cleared from those charges, and he's a pretty serviceable like three, like and you take him, but I'm not sure I would want to take him if he still has those charges surrounding him.
Right. Yeah. No, I think he's going to be in the portal for a little while still. And as soon as teams get a better idea of his legal situation, I think maybe we'll see his market kind of form after that. So,
Yes, some high school commitments happened this week. Dayton got a 2023 guy in Petras Padegimas, who is a UCF decommit. Probably butchered that name, but yeah, I mean, he took visits to like BYU as well. So, I mean, at this point, if you get a guy, it's like maybe high major quality in the recruiting trail. This late, you definitely take him. Any thoughts on him?
no, yeah. Dayton likes to bring in talent from everywhere. So, even with them, I know Holmes is back, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So, they'll still have him. They lose a lot at the guard spot, but they're reloading too.
They have a lot back, don't they?
Uh, I know Kumara's gone.
He wasn't a
Um,
guard though.
he played like one.
Yeah, I mean
He's a 3 and D.
he was
Yeah.
kind of all over the place, but like you're
Uh-huh.
bringing back Mulcahy Smith, who's hopefully healthy this
Sure.
year. You're
Sure.
bringing back Kobe Elvis, Kobe
LB
Bray.
Elvis. Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, they'll be good though, but that's neither here nor there, but Christian Bliss committed to Virginia, 4-star 2024 combo guard. Eric Freeney, a 3-star 2024 shooting guard, is off to UCLA. And UNLV got a few guys. They got Jacob Benarby, who's a 3-star 2023 forward center, and James Evans, who is a 3-star 2024 small forward. They also got him. So yeah, Kevin Kruger's been doing some work in the recruiting trail, both in the portal and in the high school ranks. Obviously, they got Dedan Thomas, who's a huge high school prospect. But yeah, any thoughts on those last few guys?
Yeah, no, I'm really a big fan of what UNLV's done this year. I think their portal season has gone really under the radar. And they're really building a top 3 Mountain West squad, like to me. They have a lot of good pieces. Jalen Hill. I love, honestly, both Boone twins are really good college basketball players. Especially wasn't Keelan the one at Pacific, right?
Yes.
No, I watched a lot of him and he really developed over there, especially what's really good about guys that from the Power Five scene that don't really get, the option to be the number one guy. And he became that at Pacific, and he really became a guy who could beat guys off the dribble and really learn to create for himself. So he's become a completely different player. And obviously Caleb's a great defender. You know what you're going to get out of Caleb. Great on the glass. They got a lot of talent over there, and hopefully they make the field. I think they can definitely be capable, and being in that conversation with like Boise State is going to be very tough. So
Yeah, I think this is Kevin Kruger's year to prove he's actually a good coach.
right.
And I mean, they have the talent, so we will see. And speaking about coaching, Mineral Area Community College hired Greg Heyer. That is crazy. I think they should not have done that. I don't know who told them that this was a good idea. Like I was reading some articles and they said they like talked with like a bunch of former employers. Like he just got fired for like multiple scandals and like the worst like disaster of a program in recent memory. And I
Still getting a job.
that
At
is
least it's not at the
insane.
D1 level, but still, like even if you're a community college, like come on.
I mean, I feel like you have to at least wait like a few years. Like, I mean, I'm
Right.
not saying like he should be done with coaching forever, but like you can't hire him right away. But it's a JUCO level. JUCOs do some
Crazy
interesting things. I
things.
mean,
Oh,
this is more interesting than most, but yeah, yeah, that was I don't like that, but
I
yeah,
didn't even
Peach
know that.
Jam, yeah, Peach Jam. The Nike EYBL stuff has been going on. Have you been watching the games much?
Nah, yeah, that's although Peach Jam is definitely like probably the best AAU
Yeah.
EYBL event. I probably should, but no, I've been busy recently. I haven't had the time to kind of watch. I saw Dylan Harper played well, but
Yes. Yeah. Cooper Flagg played really well.
oh yeah,
He is the best player in high school basketball right now.
no, he's really good. One thing about him is he's a little slow to me, like just watching his highlights, like off the dribble. His footwork is elite, though. I mean, his footwork is beautiful to watch. Reverse pivots, everything like that. Definitely a bit. I don't know. His motor is going to be tested. I think when he moves up levels, to see him running up and down off the dribble. I think he's a little. I'll have to watch more of him, but just something I noticed watching his highlights. But no, he's definitely him and Boozer are definitely 1 and 2.
And there is another guy in 2026, AJ DeBantu, who's also like really good. He's
Hmm.
been playing like the EYBL U17 to like the highest level, and I think he's like leading them in scoring. I don't know if that's changed since the last time I checked, but he is like an elite prospect as well. Like it's funny because like there's like no one as good as like those guys in 2024, and like the best high
Right.
school players right now are in 2025 and 26.
No one's even talking about 2024.
No. But as you mentioned, Dylan Harper is a still a very good 2024 player. Trey Johnson. I watched him the other day. 2024 guy from the state of Texas hasn't committed anywhere yet. He didn't. He didn't look amazing, but he also was on the U19 team, so he had been training and playing in Hungary like a week ago. So
Mhm.
you got to factor that in the equation. He's probably a little bit more worn down than most of these guys who were not just in Hungary. Trying to think if there's any other players I watch. Yeah, you mentioned the Boozers. I think Cameron is a good one. I mean, they're both good, but like one of them's like the number two guy, and one of them's like a borderline 5 star. Cooper
Right.
Flagg's brother's actually kind of good too.
Oh, he's got a brother
He
too.
has a brother who's like not
Oh,
like his level, but still pretty good. Trying to think if there's any other players that I watched. I mean, nothing really. Like I'm not as big of a high school guy,
I'm not either. No.
so don't really have a ton to mention there. But yeah, I'll definitely be watching a lot more games the next few days. Gonna see what comes out of some more action. Yeah, because yeah, there's some other guys that I saw that I liked, but cannot think of all of them at the moment. But the U19 World Cup wrapped up, and it was not a good result from the USA. They got fourth place, which is kind of pathetic given all the resources and players that the country has. I mean, maybe those players that should have been sent to the World Cup were not the ones that were on the team, but and it wasn't. That's not. It's
Didn't
not
they
what you want.
lose to Spain?
It was either Spain or France.
France. Yeah, yeah, I think it was France.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then they lost to Turkey in the third place game. So
Turkey?
they have that one guy who's the one of the rumored UCLA guys that's really good, but like still like
Okay. Yeah, about to say as one guy. Like, jeez.
yeah, I mean they have good players. Like it's
Right.
not an offense to Turkey. Like they have some guys,
The
but
supporting
like
cast guys that are probably
yeah,
under the radar prospects.
yeah, they're probably like playing pro in Europe or something. But
Right.
still, like USA should not be losing to these teams.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, Spain won the whole thing. They had some good
No.
players, including Baba Miller, who we will see playing at Florida State this year. So let's see. Any other notes in U19? I know you were not watching it
No,
nearly
I
as
think we
much as
covered
I was.
everything there. Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's get into our main segment of the podcast, which is our breakout players for the 2023-24 season. We have compiled separate lists of breakout players for yeah, for who's going to break out, who's going to have really improved seasons. And how many guys did you have?
I have like five.
Oh, I have like 25.
No, I
So,
knew yeah, no, I didn't really. I was,
okay.
I wasn't really coming up with the names weren't clicking today. So we'll see. I'll probably think of more while we're doing it, definitely.
Okay. Well, you can start us off because I'm sure the five you have are probably part of my group as well.
Yeah, of course. So I'm gonna start with the Mountain West, Javon Jackson. Watching a lot of him. I watched some of his film from the I think he's a D2 or a JUCO guy.
DTC, yeah.
Um, I love his game. I think if he, and he's gonna have a pretty big role on this team, whether it's first couple guys off the bench or maybe they'll even start him. It depends what Sprinkle wants to do. But he's extremely talented. He's under control. I love guys that are under control. They're very fluid out there. And he's a really talented shot creator as well. And I even had Noah Tomasson follows me, and he even gave him a great co-sign. He played AAU with him, so he was saying how good he was.
Yeah,
So I'm really
he's
excited to see this guy for sure.
yeah, he is really good. I think yeah, if Ian Martinez does not get the waiver, which
That's right. Yeah.
he's probably not going to,
Yeah,
then
I think so
Jackson might find himself in the starting lineup where he can. Yeah, I think
him and
he's
the
ready.
Duja is going to be nice.
Yes,
That's
yes,
going to be really fun.
yes. All right. Well, I guess I will go start into my list, and I kind of did this in order by conference. So I think I have like three or four guys from the ACC. So the first guy that I have is Ian Shefflin from Clemson.
Oh yeah.
Um, he was playing really good down the stretch, and with Hunter Tyson gone, I think there's some opportunity to be had there. Yeah, and I just trust his growth as well. Yeah, I mean, might be a little bit harder to get points with Gerard coming in. I mean, obviously different positions, but yeah, I mean, this was one I didn't feel super strongly about compared to some of the others on the list. But I think he could be in for a much improved season, and Clemson could be kind of good. I'm not sure how much
Definitely
I
could
trust
be.
Brownell to be like go to the next level, but I do like Shufflin as a potential breakout player. Um, let's see. Looks like Kyle may have froze there, so I will just go into my next player, which is Tyrese Proctor from Duke. He's a pretty easy pick for a breakout player. He had a dominant season, a dominant close this season for sure. And like people are projecting him to be an all-American, so now this breakout player just kind of goes without saying. He's a really good point guard, really see his role expand and kind of take over as the lead guard in the system from instead of Jeremy Roach. You're back, you
Yeah, I like
unfroze.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, uh, the viewers heard, but I listed Tyrese Proctor as my next breakout
Okay.
player, which, as I said, was a pretty obvious pick to break out. Do
For
you
sure.
want to write down another one of your guys?
So yeah, I got Tamar Bates. I think he's in for, especially if Mosley not coming back, Kobe Brown not coming back. If he's ever gonna break out, it's gonna be this year. Especially in Dennis Gates' system, which I think will be the very best for him. Especially I think with Indiana's offense with Trey Jackson Davis last year, the pace was pretty slow. They obviously play through the post. And I don't think Tamar Bates is that kind of player. I think he needs the ball in his hands. I think he needs to run a lot of pick and roll. He needs to be in a lot of isolation situations, and he will have that opportunity here. Mizzou loves the run and gun, and I think that's going to really benefit his play style. So
Yes, Tamar Bates was on my list. I listed 25 returners, and then I listed an additional 13 transfers, and Bates was one of those. I agree with your evaluation. He was a breakout player candidate last year. Didn't really happen, but yeah, I mean he's a good shooter. Like if there's opportunities, if he's ever gonna break out, it's gonna be now. And I
right.
think with the role that he has at Missouri, we could definitely see that happening. I will go into my next one, which is a two-part one to finish out the ACC. It is Ryan Dunn slash Isaac McNeely for Virginia. I like them both. Dunn's obviously a little bit more of like a true breakout player because he was more of in a reserve role last year, and people really like him. Really good athletic forward, could really see the next leap in his game with a lot of Virginia's front court being cleared out. He should have the starting four spot. And then McNeely, I just think McNeely is just going to really level up in scoring and kind of become one of the team's like primary options instead of just like a spark plug off the bench. He might transition into the main guy.
For sure. No, I love Isaac McNeely. Now, yeah, I'll go with Gavin Griffiths. I think he's.
Well, you can't have freshmen as your breakout players because they haven't played a game. There's nothing for them to break out from.
True. It's true. I guess I can stay off a freshman, but I think he's going to contribute right away.
Yeah,
But I'll go with Austin Nunez. We'll jump right to Austin
he
Nunez.
was another transfer on my list.
No, I think, in limited time at Arizona State, from what I saw in the couple games, like he's definitely got one of the quickest first steps in all of college basketball. I mean, that dude he can fly off the dribble. He's really good at changing speeds, and his jumper is actually pretty good. Like
Yeah.
usually you see guys who have quick first steps, they aren't the best shooters. Like he is a good shooter. He's good from mid range. I don't know how he'll be from three, but like he should definitely be one of Ole Miss's first guys off the bench. He should have a pretty big role. And he'll have a lot of shot creating opportunities for sure. So really excited to see him there under Chris Beard.
Yeah. If Brandon Murray doesn't get eligible, though, he might start.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I am a big Nunez guy. I wrote an article the other day about like 10 underrated Power Six transfers that you need to know about, and he was one of them because
Mm,
I really like him.
sure.
I will move to my Big East guys. The first guy is pretty obvious, Donovan Clingan. He's obviously like the biggest breakout candidate. Maybe like yeah, he's probably the biggest because Sanogo is no longer there. This is Klingen's team now, to be honest.
Mm,
Yeah, he's like projected All American despite averaging less than 7 points per game last season. So I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't break out. Honestly, like it's it's just kind of gonna happen either way. But I'll move to my more of my like actual guys that did like nothing last year, but are going to like play a bigger role, I guess. But Ben Gold, I really like Ben Gold as he's a power forward for Marquette. Really showed some flash of shooting the ball, and if he can play with Oso, I think he could evolve into that starting power forward spot by the end of the season. Really skilled, probably needs to put on a little bit of weight. But yeah, can really move for his size. I really like him. And if we were talking about Marquette, you could also throw in Chase Ross, who I really liked. Yeah, I really like their whole sophomore class in general. But Ben Gold is a guy I'm really higher on than most. And while we're at it, I will finish out my Big East. I guess I just have two more guys, and they are Mark Armstrong, who, uh, I
you
mean,
know my list
as
too.
yes, as a Villanova fan, you're obviously pretty familiar with him. He definitely showed some flashes at the U19. Um, Still, I think he needs like a little bit. Like I think he's almost there. He just needs to find that next level, which if Villanova is going to be like really good this year, they're going to need him. Like he's really the X factor because he's a true point guard on the roster. I don't think
Yeah.
Justin Moore is really a true point guard, although Justin Moore will
Mm.
probably start at the point guard. But yeah, I think I really love Mark Armstrong down the road. I'm not sure I'm sold on him like right now, but he's someone that I really am buying into the prospect, potential in him. And my last Big East guy is Jaden Pierre for Providence. Should be their starting point guard. So we'll really get an opportunity to play there. Was solid when he played last year, but I think he will really get his impact up this year. I know Kim English loves him. Like Kim English really tried to get him back in the portal from the portal when he beat him in that one-on-one game. But yeah, so I think he's going to be good. Any thoughts on those three or four guys?
Yeah, no, they're definitely all valid picks. The guys that should have bigger roles on their respective teams. I'll give one. I think Bryce Williams of Nebraska is definitely being flown under the radar. I know he was on your list too. He had good splits at Charlotte. You know, he can shoot the ball. He's got good size, 6'8", I believe. And you know, he can give you know, great. Obviously, Charlotte was a great defensive team last year, so he's gonna probably translate defensively really well. I just think he's a really good fit for a Fred Hoiberg team who also prioritizes defense, and then he'll give them some shooting and size from the outside. So I think he's going to fit in great there.
Yeah, he was really playing good down the stretch. He's had some big scoring outputs last
Mhm.
year, so yeah, I think he's a guy that could really make a big impact for sure. Didn't make my list because I don't know. I for my transfers, I chose mostly high major to high major transfers that would really like elevate to the next level. But I think Bryce Williams is a guy that even with a step up in level, we can still see an increase in his playing time, production, and all that stuff.
Mm.
So I will move into my Big Ten guys. The first guy that I have is Ty Rogers for Illinois. There have been discussions that he might start at point guard somehow, which I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that will be interesting to see. But yeah, he was a guy that got some high praise coming into last year. Didn't have the same impact that people wanted, but he's a pretty versatile like wing, maybe point guard apparently. But yeah, I think he's a guy that can really take his game to the next level, especially if he ends up in the starting lineup.
He's a strong kid. I
Mm.
remember we played him last year, and he did really good. And he was probably Illinois' damn near best player in one of the meetings because they did not play Penn State well at all. So no, he was really strong around the rim. He can really finish. I definitely love him as a breakout guy. He's going to get hopefully some more opportunities this year. I really hope so.
Yes. Staying in the Big Ten, I have Josh Dix from Iowa, and this could be Zante Bowen as well. I just kind of picked whoever I think Iowa will start at a two, which I think Dix will start at a two. But yeah, I really like him. He can really shoot the ball, can really score the ball. He's from this area, so I watched him play in high school a few times. A guy that I really like, and I think he's still kind of growing in his game and can take the next step under a somewhat depleted Iowa team where there are minutes scoring to be had from last year.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go Kanye Clary. I think he's a guy that even with Ace Baldwin, like he's gonna have a big role next to Ace. You really could see again Kanye. I love guards to have quick first steps, and Kanye is definitely up there when it comes to quick first steps. Obviously shooting needs a bit of work with him. His release is a little slow. I think he'll improve as a shooter though. His release from three is a little weird. He's a lefty. He's pretty good from the mid range, and he's got a really good floater game. He's a guy I like. He's definitely going to be one of this team's top scoring options.
Yes, with the Penn State roster almost nearly turning over, he is one of the constants. So yeah, he definitely knows not really knows the system because he's a new coach and stuff, but he knows the school, knows the knows that stuff. So it won't be some new environment for him.
I think also playing under Rhodes, with his fast paced offense style compared to the Shrews, where it's definitely really pretty slow. And Kanye was really the only guy who could really speed up the tempo, really, of any of our guards. So him being next to like a fast-paced guy and ace, I think is really going to actually help his development.
Yes. Some more Big Ten guys I have. One is Terrace Reed Jr. for Michigan. Should be their starting five, and with the loss of Hunter Dickinson, there will be plenty of minutes to be had there. He was decent in his freshman year, but under limited minutes. But I think he should be able to grow into a bigger role. I think he is capable of playing the starter, and yeah, I definitely think he's a guy that can break out. Also considered having Doug McDaniel, but I think he was a little too good as a freshman for me to consider
Yeah,
him a true breakout player. But I think he'll be really good too.
of course. Yeah.
Another Big Ten guy that I have is Derek Simpson. I think he will like kind of go to the next level this year. No Cam Spencer, no Paul Mulcahy. So there will be a lot of minutes to be had there. And yeah, I think he's a guy that just would take the next step anyway because he had an impressive freshman season. Will probably really build on that.
Yeah, I was just thinking of leaving Simpson off because I thought he was too good to be on here. But then again, like you said, he's got to jump that next level, and he's going to. So obviously, that's a pretty valid reason for that. And then obviously, I think we're going to talk about Jamarcus Lawrence.
He is a guy I kind of wanted to throw in, but didn't. But
Okay,
I definitely
if we're throwing
wouldn't.
Simpson on here, we might as well throw Lawrence
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I just didn't throw him on there because I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know if it's going to be him or Aaron Eulis. I
oh
kind of
god,
like Lawrence. I like
yeah,
Lawrence, but Eulis
I
is more
want
of
one
like
to be
an
a starter.
older player.
Yeah, no, I think Nebraska definitely needs like that number one option. Obviously Kaise's, but I think, obviously Kaise could benefit from having another scorer next to him, with some more size and stuff. So, nah, I would definitely, I hope Jamarcus starts. I think Eulis
Yes.
could be, somebody who could be pretty good in a backup, ball handler role. So,
Yeah. My last Big Ten guy that I have is Roddy Gale Jr. from Ohio State. He's another guy that's just like kind of going to get minutes. So he showed some flashes in his freshman year and should be able to get into a bigger role with a lot of guys leaving there. Any thoughts on him?
yeah, he's definitely a breakout guy. A lot of people have. He was very impressive in the Big Ten tourney. what I'm kind of worried about is I've seen like guys play well in the conference tourney, and then the next year they'll just regress back to their old selves. Like I hope that doesn't happen because he'll obviously be in a bigger role. But no, I want to be extremely surprised if he kind of he needs to be more assertive for sure. He'll have a bigger role next year. I just, everyone was chalking up Chucky to be a breakout guy last year. There's certainly guys, people like just chalked up to be breakout guys. And I think Roddy Gale is becoming one of those. So, obviously he needs to, he's getting a lot of hype around his name and he's got to answer the bell and we'll really see, I guess.
Yeah, difference there is like Chucky already got minutes his freshman year. Like he was a starter. People just thought he would take some like Johnny Davis jump, which obviously was never realistic. But Gale's going to get minutes. Like he's going
That's
to greatly expand his minutes. So I think he's a pretty. I think he's going to break out. But
Yeah,
you know,
no, I think another guy, if you want to go with Ohio State, is Felix Okpara.
yes.
Definitely a
I don't know
guy.
why I didn't put him down. I probably should have.
I love him. I think,
Hmm.
he brings a lot of what Ohio State needed like all year with rim protection and defense. And he was a pretty good finisher around the rim for a guy who's not really known for his offense. He did a good job there.
Can run the floor for his size.
Yeah, he's got great motor, can rim run. Yeah, he's a really traditional center. I love traditional centers.
Hmm.
And Zed Key was not a traditional center at all. Like he's a score first, like power forward, who can't protect the rim. And he was struggling to score because apparently he was hurt. I think he had a shoulder injury or something. So obviously that affected him too. And we'll see if he gets right this season. But no, I think Okpara starting is going to be huge.
Yes, yeah. The rumors are that Akpara will start this year into the Zedkey. We will see if that actually happens, but either way, Akpara will be pretty good, I think.
Mhm.
Moving to the Big 12. Let's see how many guys do I have here. I have one, two, three, four Big 12 guys. And the first one is Baylor, the Langston Love. This just another situation where Baylor graduates or they don't have Keontae George, Adam Flagler, or LJ Cryer anymore. So he will get a lot of those minutes and he should get a lot of those points. Showed some flashes last year as well. Him next to Ray J. Dennis and Jacoby Walter, the freshman. That should be a pretty good backcourt. Not as good as it was last year, but Love definitely needs to take the next step.
For sure, for sure. He's somebody I see too.
For Houston, I have Terrence Arsenault, who is another guy I think could like really take a next step. Didn't quite live up to my expectations this year, but like Houston was a pretty old team with like Sasser, Shed, obviously was still there. Um, but yeah, I think this like a lot of these guys are sophomores on my breakout list, and I think like the sophomore jump is a real thing. Like sophomores typically are the ones that break out. So I think he could, especially if he's in the starting lineup, as I predict he will be.
Yeah. My breakout guy is Emmanuel Sharp. He's somebody I really like. Because he brings like a different dimension to Houston's offense. He's a real shooter. And Houston's not really known for having like 3-point prowess. And he's someone who's really good. Like he did that right away last year as a freshman. And he's a good defender too. So he's a real 3-and-D guy. And there's always going to be minutes for 3-and-D guys.
Yes. Another Big 12 breakout guy that's pretty basic is Dylan Mitchell. I mean, he still needs to develop the skills, which has been pretty obvious, but he's super athletic. If he gets some skills, he will be really good. I mean, he was one of the top recruits in the class. Didn't really live up to that, but has as I said once again, he has all the athletic abilities necessary. He just needs to expand more into like a scorer, more of a option in offense. But yeah, if that happens, he could be really good.
For sure.
I also have Lamar Washington as my last Big 12 guy. I think along with we talked about Texas Tech, but along with McMillan, I think he could really provide some scoring pop off the bench. Really had a decent freshman year. I mean, didn't score a ton, but like showed what he is capable of doing like next year.
Yeah,
So
I got one. I'm gonna go Keyshawn Gilbert. I liked a lot of what I saw from Keyshawn in the first half of last year on
yes, he shot
UNLV.
the ball well in the first half, did not really shoot the ball well in the
Yeah,
second half.
so I mean, he was their best player when they were 10-0. Like he was their leading scorer. He was really good on defense. He was really breaking out, but then after, they started to lose a little bit is when he went down, and then Parquet got hurt, and then he started to shoot the ball worse. And that's when it really went downhill for UNLV. Like when he started to play bad is when their season turned around. And if we get the good version of Keyshawn Gilbert on this Iowa State team, he can be a legit scoring option even in the Big 12 because he's a really
Yes.
physical player. And he plays good defense too. So
Yeah, if he can regain his perimeter shooting, he could play with Taman Lipsey, which that
right.
would be because they're both kind of point guards, but Gilbert, I mean, like I said, like you don't want two point guards who like can't really score together. And
Mm-hmm.
Lipsy is not really he's more of like a pass first guy than a scorer shooter. So
Mm-hmm. No,
yes,
of course.
if Gilbert needs to find his perimeter shooting again. So now moving on to the Pac-12, where I have three guys. Do you have any Pac-12 guys?
Um, once you throw out a couple, I that's what I've been doing. Like when you've thrown out a couple from teams, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do him. So
Yeah.
let me
Well,
hear yours, and
I
then
have Vince Iwuchukwu from USC. He dealt with some medical issues last year, had some like heart problems, so didn't really get a that good of a start into last year. Didn't really start playing until later in the year, but was pretty decent when he did play. Former 5-star, big guy, center. So I think he's someone that could maybe start this year, and USC will be very good. So we could see him making a pretty big impact as long as he has like a full uninterrupted season of conditioning this summer.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Julian Hammond from Colorado. I think, obviously he's still next to Cody Simpson and still, the number two guy. I think he was really under the radar last year. But I think, he's gonna start still. And I think he's still going to get a lot of production. And, if he can just build on his efficiency, get a couple more touches, I think he'll start to get the respect he deserves because he was really consistent for them last year, even when KJ was a little bit inconsistent. Like you knew what you were getting from Hammond. So I'm excited for him. And there's been a lot of hype around Colorado. It really all depends on what Cody Williams is going to bring you, but at the same time, like they're still going to be a really good team.
Yeah, Cody Williams, not someone that really impressed me at the U19.
Yeah,
Definitely more of like a project, as people
he
have been
is.
saying
That's
this whole time. But
hmm
yes, yes, I think Hammond's another guy that also could like be a big X factor because I mean you kind of know what you're getting from De Silva, kind of know what you're getting from Lampkin, you kind of know what you're getting from Simpson, but he's a
right.
guy that could really elevate the team to the next level, along with Williams, of course, depending on how he turns out for the Buffs. But yes, I have Kylan Boswell, who's another pretty basic breakout player. Everyone's gonna have him on their list,
Yeah,
and for good reason.
for good
Like
reason.
he'll be the starting point guard on a very good Arizona team. And like as a projected potential lottery pick next year, it's still early, so we don't know how it's going to shape out, but I think he's going to be like really good. I mean, they like forced Kirk Reese out because they wanted to go with Boswell for the future. So
hmm
yeah, you got any more? Before I say my last one,
um, no, yeah, probably gonna stay off the Cal guys, even though because
yeah,
they're not
I
really
mean, there's no
breakout
one that's
guys.
like a true breakout player
Right.
there.
Exactly.
Um, but there is a true breakout player at UCLA because there is Dylan Andrews who will
Oh yeah.
be their starting point guard. Even if they get an international guys, you're still going to be their starting point guard because those guys aren't point guards. So yeah, I mean, there's another situation where there's a lot of minutes to be had, and I think this could be a fairly significant sophomore jump. I mean, there's no Tiger Campbell there, so he is the guy. He showed some flashes. Um, I guess we'll just see if he can take the next step and be like a plus high major starter. But he's definitely someone that will get a minute and potential to break out regardless.
For sure. Nah, he's somebody, yeah, that will definitely break out too.
All right, moving on to my SEC. I have five SEC guys and one guy from the WCC. But my first SEC guy is Rylan Griffin from Alabama. He was honestly pretty good as a freshman. Like he was a lot better than some of these other guys I mentioned, and should be in line for an even bigger season. Obviously, you're not going to have like Brandon Miller there to battle for minutes. They're a little different positions. They kind of overlapped at points. As I have Griffin starting at the three. So yeah, I think he's someone that could make a big impact. Could really see a big scoring bump. And yeah, Alabama's team I'm not incredibly in on, but if he plays like really good, they're a team that I could start coming around to.
For sure. Nah, he's definitely their X factor for me too.
Arkansas, I had Trevon Brazile. This is a little bit on the edge of whether you really want to consider him a breakout player, but I think he's just going to take like the next step. Like I think he is going to be like an All American.
For
Like
sure. I
maybe
know, of
that's a little
course.
rich. Maybe that's a little rich, but like he
The
is.
one thing that'll hold him back is that, are these Arkansas guards going to get him touches? That's been the one
Yeah,
thing with.
that is true. But he's a front court guy. Like he is the guy in
True.
the front court. Like there's no one else that's close to as good as him.
That is true.
So
If he's not getting touches, there's a problem.
yeah. They just need to get him his touches because yeah, I think he's gonna be like an All American.
First round pick. Yep.
Yes,
I
and
see.
I think he would have been first round pick this year if he never got hurt.
Probably.
So yeah, we're hoping for a full healthy season and what we predict will be a very good one from Brazil. Riley Kugel is another one that's going to be on everyone's breakout list. Was honestly pretty good as a freshman, but I think he's another guy that's going to elevate to that next step and will be one of the reasons why Florida will be so good this year. Um, yeah, I mean he's a really versatile like 3-4-2 kind of plays all over there in the middle. He's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's on mine too. He's on my player of the year list. I mean,
I wouldn't count him out for that. Do you have any other SEC guys?
you know what? I probably can't really say him. I was gonna say Andrew Taylor, but he averaged like 20 a game. So
He's not really a breakout player. He's more of a guy to fit. I don't know what you call him, but I think he
yeah, I don't
will
even know what you would
surprise some
call
people.
him. Right. It's just SEC fans don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's probably it, honestly. I don't think the SEC is a ton of like quote unquote breakout guys.
Yeah. Well, I still have two more, so
All
they
right.
might
I'll hear
because
it. I'll hear what you got.
I have Tobe Awaka,
Oh yeah.
who he was probably the best player at U19 from USA team. He is a really big presence inside. I guess we'll just see how Tennessee works him in with the minutes, but I think he's ready to contribute and really expand on what he did last year. And then my last one is Colin Smith for Vanderbilt. I think he's
Uh,
another guy that could really expand. He should get more minutes. I think he's a guy that's also ready to take the jump. And another guy that could really be the X factor of how good Vanderbilt really is if they're just like a solid NIT team or a team possibly competing for a tournament bid.
yeah, him and obviously probably throw Van Allen Lubin in there too.
Yes, I have him on my transfers list to break
Okay.
out.
Yep.
All right, so any other SEC any do you have any other names like just in the whole
Mm,
scheme of things?
Well, obviously we had a guest, supposed to be on here.
Yes, yes,
Um, you know, a cool cot. He's definitely a breakout guy.
yes. And can you really call him a breakout though? I mean, he averaged like 24 last year,
I mean,
so
it's at the D2 level though.
it was a good D2 level though. Like,
I mean, of course, but at the same time, like breaking out onto the D1 scene, you know.
yeah. But yeah, I have one more guy, and it is
I
Joshua
know.
Jefferson.
Oh. How about
Who
Adama Ball of Santa Clara.
I could see that. I
That
tried to avoid like down transfers though, because I mean, you automatically are kind of
that's
like,
true.
but
Okay.
yeah, I had Joshua Jefferson though, because he should start for St. Mary's this year, and St. Mary's randomly takes like random guys and turns them into like 10-point per game scores. So that's the only reason why I have him. I honestly like did not really. I mean, like I kind of remember him playing, but I don't remember a lot about him. I just know that he is probably going to start this year, and that's just what St. Mary's does. Like they can really develop players. Like Randy Bennett consistently takes guys from like doing nothing to like having big impacts as starters. And speaking about St. Mary's, I honestly thought about throwing Aiden Mahaney in there, because like I think he's another guy that'll be like all American level this year, even though he was awesome as a freshman.
Right.
And
No, of
another guy,
course.
like you could almost throw Augustus Marshallonis in there. Like same. It's just a St. Mary's thing.
It's subjective. Yeah. No, of course.
All right. So those are my all my returning players. Can you think of any more before I head on to my breakout transfers?
Probably not. I think I covered all mine.
Yes, but yeah. So I have 13 breakout transfers. You already mentioned guys in Tamar Bates, Austin Nunez, and Ben Allen Lubin. So I have 10 more to go. If you think of any along the way, feel free to mention him. But I have Amari Abram, who was
Oh
honestly
yeah.
another guy that was good as a freshman, but I think he's another guy that can also take the next step as a sophomore at Georgia Tech, transferring from Ole Miss. Combo guard, I think he has NBA potential. Can really score the ball, has some nice array of scoring moves, and I think could really step into the limelight. Might be Georgia Tech's best
That's a
player.
really
I
good
think he
one.
has the potential.
Mm. No, yeah, I loved him a lot.
I have another player in MJ Rice. I think I mean, obviously didn't do much at Kansas, but he definitely has a power conference body. He is huge. He just needs to, I think the skills is what needs to be developed. He was still relatively raw at Kansas, but he should be in the starting lineup for NC State. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, another time if like you're gonna break out, might as well do it now.
All right. Exactly.
I have in other players, I have Hunter Salas, who went from Gonzaga to Wake Forest. I think he's a player that could really break out because he never really got his chance at Gonzaga. I mean, a former 5-star, highly ranked recruit will get his chance now, you would hope, at Wake Forest. So another time, like this is kind of not necessarily his last chance, but like maybe his last chance to play himself into an NBA player. So another player that could really use a breakout season. Have you thought of any other ones?
I'm gonna go with JJ Starling. I'm
Okay.
gonna think next to Judah Mintz, somebody who can really facilitate and get him a lot of good looks. I think his shot quality is gonna be a lot better than it was at Notre Dame, where he was, kind of forced to take a lot of tough shots and in a really weird offense. I think, next to Judah, you have a real point guard. The roles are gonna be a little more set, the spacing should be a little bit better. So I think JJ's gonna have a good season for sure.
Yes, I could see that. I mean he was kind of good at Notre Dame. Notre
Yeah,
Dame
he
kind of
was
sucked, but
definitely underwhelmed to the hype that he
yeah,
had
yeah, yes,
coming
yes,
in.
yes. People were saying he would like be as
Right.
good as Blake Wesley. He was not as good as Blake
No.
Wesley, or really even close.
No.
But yeah, Syracuse coming back home, I could
All
definitely
right.
see him really expand his role and really could be one of the best backcourts in the ACC, maybe even the country, and him and Judah Mintz. Pierre Brooks was a name I have on my list. I think he's going to be like Butler's best player legitimately. Part of that is because Butler just is not going to be that good, but part of it is because I kind of like Brooks, like guys that play for Tom Izzo, I generally like, and like
Of
when
course.
they transfer to new places, I think he can really like be more of like a leader, like can
Austin
really.
Lawyer.
Osterler was not good at Michigan State, and he was really good at Davidson. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Pierre Brooks, yeah, but Butler doesn't have as many options. Like I think he's gonna be their best player, so that's why I have him on here.
Mhm.
Elijah Fisher going from Texas Tech to DePaul, I um think he can really break out. As I mentioned last week, I didn't like him in the one game I saw at U19, But he had some other like really impressive stat lines when I was not watching. Really athletic, and he was a 2023 recruit, or yeah, originally. So he's like kind of like should be an incoming freshman. So for DePaul to get a guy like that is really impressive.
for sure.
Um, AJ Store is a guy I really like. It just kind of we can kind of see how like it kind of works out with Wisconsin. Uh, Kind of a weird system for him to transfer into, but he is really good. So I think
Yeah, no, that's
he
fun.
could really carry some scoring. I actually like Wisconsin for next year.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you in on
they're solid.
Wisconsin?
They're solid. I think they'll be a little bit better than last
Yeah,
year.
I mean, I didn't realize how much guys they're bringing back like
Oh
everyone
yeah, no,
except for
exactly.
like Jacoby Neath, who it was not good, and who else did they lose? It was someone like not that good, but uh Jordan Davis. So
Yeah, no, it's just guard's ability to really coach an offense is what I'm kind of worried about.
yeah.
But no, I definitely think they'll be solid for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, part of it is because Store is a guy that Rick Pitino won back at St. John's,
Mm.
eventually still transferred. So yes, he's a guy that could. I mean, he was good. So like, he's a guy that can
I think the
really
fit
like.
can be weird. Yeah, that's why I'm
Yes,
a bit hesitant.
yeah, I don't love the fit, but he can score. He can
I
really.
think they should play Chucky off of Store. I think Chucky's best in the catch and shoot. When he has to really like create for himself is when it's a little iffy. That's where his limitations were last year is at the end of games and he's trying to do too much. I think Store's more of a athlete, definitely more of a creator. Chucky was a really good shooter last year. Like he shot like what, like 40 something percent from three. So you might as well play to his strengths and get the most out of him, honestly.
Yeah, another guy I have on my list is Arterio Morris. He's a guy I really like to do like a lot at Texas if he came back, which he did not. But Kansas, he'll probably come off the bench, but I think he's a guy that's like really good.
I
Like
thought he was the
he
140th ranked transfer.
that was a bad account that posted that he
This
was
is
the 100.
rule 101 of why you don't look at, box scores and his stat lines from the years past when grading a transfer.
Yeah, because
Obviously.
yes, I mean you look at him like he was a freshman on like one of the oldest teams in the country. He was good when he played,
Right.
and like he just didn't really play that much because he had a lot of old guys. Like, was he going to play over Marcus Carr, like Serge Barry Rice? Like, no, he was not going to. But he was really good when he played. Like, and he probably should have played more. Honestly, like Brock Cunningham should not have got more minutes than Arturo Morris.
Very limited.
Yes,
No, that's why we don't look at oh, he averages 5 points a game. He sucks, right? That's what some people do in grading transfers.
yeah. Like I think he would have been an All Big 12 player had he stayed at Texas. Not sure I'm buying that because he'll likely be coming off the bench, but
Right.
he'll still be like really good.
Of course. No, he's gonna be a really high impact guy for Kansas.
Especially next year, assuming he stays, like with
Mm-hmm.
Timberlake gone, like he could be like the next level.
For sure.
But another guy I have on my list as a breakout transfer is Ernest Uday. I have a few guys leaving Kansas. Think he just didn't get an opportunity really last year, and I mean TCU should be the starting center there, so should
Mm-hmm.
get an opportunity. The other Kansas guy I have is Joseph Yusefu, transferred to Washington State. Can really score the ball. Could really score the ball at Drake. Probably shouldn't have even transferred to Kansas. That was a bad move. But yeah, Washington State's gonna need some scoring, and he can score the ball.
Mm-hmm. No, he'll be probably one of their number one guys. So
Yes. I have RJ Melendez from Illinois transferring to Georgia. Really showed flashes, never really put it fully together, but he could be like one of the I mean he will be one of the main guys at Georgia, so I think he could really another guy that could really take that next step.
yeah, it's just he's got to knock down more jumpers. Like, that's his thing. He's just a little inefficient right now.
Yeah, really good athlete though.
Oh, of course.
I have yeah, that was my all my transfers because my last three on the list were Base, Nunez, and Lubin. So that is everyone I had. Is there any other guys that you thought of?
That's really about it. No, I think we went through them all, honestly.
All right. Well, have you been watching Summer League much?
A little bit here and there. I think I watched it the other night when Hodge and Drew Smith were in the game. It was the Heat Lakers game I
Yeah.
watched.
Watch some Jamari Booyah.
Yeah, right now exactly. Can't miss the Jamari Bouye show.
Yeah, he's good. I miss watching him at San Francisco. Um,
He's definitely nice.
yeah, Summer League is so fun to watch. Like there's like so many college players you forgot existed that play in the summer league.
Mike Dom,
Mike Don was playing.
Kings.
Yeah, like Jordan Ford was on the Kings too. There's just so many guys I forgot exist.
Just
Like,
nostalgia. So much nostalgia.
yeah, it's
Bringing shit.
amazing. It's just have the summer league the full year. Like, who cares about NBA?
Right.
We can just watch these washed up
College
college guys.
legend.
They're just going
Right.
back to Europe after summer league's over. Yeah, but let's see. Anything else we want to mention on the podcast? This was a little bit of a shorter episode, not as much to talk about in off season, but any
Yeah.
other last minute
We're
thoughts?
nearing the conference preview season for
We
sure.
are. We are.
It's gonna be really fun to do. Give us some feedback on which conferences we should start with.
Yes. So
And
let us know in the comments on YouTube.
for sure. We have to get the rosters fully together and stuff. So they're finalizing. So obviously there is
Yes.
still some portal activity, so we're kind of waiting for that to simmer completely down. But yeah, no, excited to really start that.
Yeah, probably around August is when we want to start that. Once,
Yeah,
I mean,
honestly.
because in August, like that's when like school starts for a lot of places. So, like that's when transfers, like recruits,
Done
like
getting their
can,
credits.
yeah. I mean, you kind of need to be committed to a school by when school starts. So,
Yeah. Um,
yes.
that would help.
Um, yeah. Any other notes before we publish this podcast?
Honestly, that's about it. I think it's good, ready to go. Nice quick episode.
Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure, as always, to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whatever podcast you listen on, if that is an option. Yeah, give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. Facebook, not Facebook. I don't know why I said Facebook, but I mean, I think we might have a Facebook account. I don't even know.
Oh,
I don't even know. Like, I've never used Facebook, but I think like I might have created an account. But
yeah, same. I
more
have one.
more importantly, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get into more of the social media platforms. Need to start posting stuff on the TikTok account.
Oh, for sure.
It is there. There's just like no posts, but maybe I'll go make some content like right now. I don't know.
All right.
Gotta get some work done behind the scenes. A lot of stuff happens in the time between
Mm-hmm.
podcasts. But
Yep.
yeah, I'll also give Kyle a follow at Mid Major Basketball on Instagram. And yeah, we will see you next week with another podcast. We have no idea what we're going to talk about. We will come up with something though. Yeah, actually, we might have some interviews. We might, as Kyle alluded to earlier, we might have some player interviews, maybe coach interviews. I don't know. But we just need stuff to fill the dead space of the off season. And yeah, so you might be seeing some player. If there's a player that you want to see, you should let us know in the comments as well, or DM us. We probably won't be able to get like the big fish, but we can get a lot of players. Like
For
we have
sure.
connection with a lot of guys. Don't expect us to get like Zach Edey on the podcast, but we can definitely get a lot of the better mid major players. A lot of the guys aren't like household names, but that are still really good. So
Mm-hmm.
we will be working on that. So yeah, until then, yeah, we will see you next week.